All right, and the last principle I want to talk about is the difference between training and competing, right? This is going to make a little more sense in a minute, but training, in my definition, I just made this up, is actively working towards improving your strength, endurance, skill, technique, in every workout in order to achieve your goals, all right? What I mean by that is that when you're training, you're staying within the heart rate range recommendations. I write a lot of programming, and one of the biggest things we talk about is training certain energy systems. And when you're trying to train a specific energy system as best we can, there's quite a bit of research and guidelines for what our heart rate should be in, right? How hard you're actually supposed to be working to get the training effect that you want. All right? So we don't necessarily want to redline every single workout because we're not getting the training effect that we want. All right? It's very important to try to pick the right workouts so that we're working towards a specific goal from a conditioning perspective. All right? The other part is picking the correct weight. Right? If the purpose of a conditioning workout you have is to learn how to cycle well through a barbell movement, right? And the weight is too big or too much, a couple things can happen. For one, your technique can fall apart, which is not ideal. And the second part is that you might not be able to cycle the bar. You might have to drop it. You might have to take too much rest. And all of a sudden, the training effect is not the right thing that we want to get. Right? All of a sudden, we're not training the way that we're supposed to get the training effect in order to achieve our goals. Right? So you should have kept that weight a little bit lighter. When you're training, you'd pick the correct weight so you can do the workout the way it's meant to be. All right? The other part is using the right modification. Let's use Fran, right? So Fran, let's say we're using that same athlete that could only do 2 to 3 kipping pull-ups previously. If we want to get a training effect and have that person finish the workout in under 5 minutes, and their 2-3 rep max for kipping pull-ups is, or excuse me, their best set of kipping pull-ups is 2 to 3, that's not the right training effect. That person is going to be hanging from a pull-up bar staring at it for a long time, right? The workout is going to take too long. So it's very important that we pick the correct modification in that choice in order to get the training effect that we want. And a lot of times this is just basically checking your ego, all right? When you go into the gym every day, check your ego, make sure that you're training in a way that's going to promote progress and decrease your risk of injury, and not just picking a heavier weight to stroke your ego. At the end of the day, it makes no sense, right? All it's going to do to try to use a heavier weight or a harder modification is get you hurt and make you worse. So if you start thinking that way, all of a sudden things make more sense and you're happier, healthier, and you're making progress for longer in the gym. Okay? So the opposite of training would be competing. And I'll tell you what, competing is super important. People need to work hard, right? So the definition I came up with competing is doing what you have to do to get doing what you have to do to get the best possible score, weight lifted, time, or to win, right? Whatever that is. So when you compete, a lot of times your technique is compromised. You're trying to blast through these reps. You're trying to get this best possible score. You're going to do what you have to, right? Your energy systems are pushed to the extreme. You're working as hard as you possibly can, right? You're trying to win, right? A lot of times we lose track of how the body feels, right? How about sometimes we're in the gym and we really want to do a workout, but the shoulder's not feeling too good, but you do the workout anyway, and then at the end you're like, oh, my shoulder kind of hurts, right? When you're in the mode of just competing all the time, you lose track of how the body feels, right? We don't modify the way that we should normally, right? We push painful movements we shouldn't to make progress. And I use bunny ears here, quotations, because basically, let's say your knee hurts, right? And you're not good at squatting, right? So this is my problem. I'm not great at squatting, and in years past, I'm like, okay, I need to increase the volume of squatting. I need to do more squatting, get better at squatting, right? And what happened is I got a bit better at squatting, but then I would get really painful to the point where I'd have to really back off of squatting, right? So in my mind, I thought, oh man, I got to push these movements. Doesn't matter how my knee feels. I got to get better, right? What ends up happening is over time, sometimes that pain ends up making you go backwards. And if we want long-term success and we want pain-free fitness, right? Fitnesspainfree.com, we'll plug there. We got to modify it. We have to be smart. We have to listen to our body. And when you're competing, you're not doing that. You're just trying to do as much as you can to win, right? So, again, treating your training like competition on a regular basis can lead to injury, like we just talked about, and also burnout, right? If you're working like a madman every single day, pushing all the Metcon to the extreme, eventually your body's going to say, not so good, I don't like this too much. And we see this a lot in athletes, all right? They get hurt, they don't feel like doing their training anymore, and then their training career is done, right? Their competition career is over. So they're so tired about it. So just to recap, the vast majority of your time in the gym should be training. not competing.